بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. As I said last time, that this surah is very rich in the rulings of talaq, and we really need to be aware of many of those rulings. And as I told you, that many people put themselves into so many problems because of ignorance of the rulings of talaq. We mentioned some stories, and inshallah we will mention other stories to reflect or to represent other cases that people are unaware of. Last time we started to give the tafsir of this surah. يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن. O Prophet, if you hear إذا طلقتم, you in English can refer to an individual or a group of individuals, and here إذا طلقتم, it refers to, as we said, to both meanings, as it addresses the Prophet ﷺ alone, but out of respect for the Prophet ﷺ, it uses the royal we, okay, what is known as the royal we, إذا طلقتم, or according to the other meaning, which is a meaning that has been endorsed by most of the mufassirin, or many of the mufassirin. It is the beginning of the address is to the Prophet ﷺ, but he wants to drag the attention of his ummah. Okay, so then Allah Jalla wa Ala says, if you as an ummah or as Muslims, if you divorce women, then do this and that. Or the other meaning, if you, O Prophet, tell the believers, if they were to divorce women, then they have to do this and that. Okay. إذا طلقتم النساء, if you divorce women, فطلقوهن لعدتهن. First of all, talaq is ending the marriage contract. إنهاء عقد الزوجية, by the will of the husband, using a certain word. This is the definition of talaq. So it is ending the marriage contract or marriage wedlock by the will of the husband, using a certain word. إرادة الزوج, by the will of the husband. Now, talaq, as we said, I don't know whether we said that, is to end marriages. And we said that one of the acts that Allah Jalla wa Ala discourages in general is to end the marriage. However, in many cases, there should be an end for this marriage. It is not working, or for whatever reason, so there has to be an end. If we study the rulings for talaq, you will see that those rulings can only be revealed by someone who is not a human being. If you study those rulings, you will admit and recognize and see it, that those rulings have not been revealed by someone who is a human being, by someone who is far to be a human being. Same thing if you study the rulings of transactions, financial transactions, you will see that those rulings cannot be legislated by a human being, by a normal person. No, there has to be someone who is so superior who legislated those things, those rulings. Same thing with talaq. As I said, talaq is an act legislated to end marriage. Sharia discourages ending marriages in general. In Hadith Jabir, in Sahih Muslim, The Prophet ﷺ said that shaitan puts his throne on water, and then he sends the shayateen, the small shayateen who work for him. And he said, أقربهم منه منزلة أكثرهم فسادا or ifsada. The nearest and the dearest shaitan to him is the one who caused the most mischief and corruption. So the shaitan will come to him and he will say to him, I have done this. He said, no, you did not do anything. Yani the shayateen, the devil people, as we see some devil, so the devils from the shayateen, as we see some devil people, devil humans, they compete in what? Doing something really bad. This is their competition. And if they do something that is not that bad, they will feel they cannot sleep peacefully. They only enjoy when they cause big mischief. These are shayateen. So the nearest and the dearest shaitan to the big shaitan is the one who causes the biggest mischief. So one shaitan will come to him and will say to him, I did this. He will say, no, you did not do anything. Another shaitan will come to him, I did this. No, you didn't do anything. Third shaitan. Until a shaitan comes to him and he says to him, I did not leave him until I caused fitna, problems between him and his wife, and I ended his marriage. Then the big shaitan will say, you are the dearest shaitan to me. Which means what? That Allah Jalla wa Ala does not like ending marriages. However, Allah knows and acknowledges that sometimes the only solution for this marriage is to let each one to depart by himself. However, and moreover, Allah Jalla wa Ala put this talaq in a certain framework in order to what? First of all, to make it a solution rather than a problem. To make talaq a solution rather than a problem. And we need to look at it as a solution for a problem. Once we deal with talaq like this, then it will be a problem. Otherwise, it will be a solution. Otherwise, it will be what? A problem. That's why Allah Jalla wa Ala put the guidelines for talaq, and then he said, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. So if you fear Allah Jalla wa Ala, Allah Jalla wa Ala will find you a way. Which means that if you follow the guidelines of talaq, Allah Jalla wa Ala will find a solution for you, because you have followed the guidelines of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and Allah Jalla wa Ala will facilitate a solution for you. But if you don't fear Allah Jalla wa Ala, then it is up to you. You bear the consequences of what you do. So, talaq should be used as a solution. This is the first art, or the first point that we need to learn in order to make talaq, in order to minimize talaq, and in order to make it as a solution for a problem. My dear brothers and sisters, wallahi, the way I see it here in the UK, because I deal with talaq cases a lot, I see that if our community were to collapse, it is because of marriage breakdown within our community. It is not because we will not practice the deen, or we are weak, or because external pressure, or prevent strategy, or MI5, or MI10, or so on. No, it is because of something worse than that, than all of these things, which is marriage breakdown. Once I remember that I estimated the percentage of breakdown to be between around 40% of the marriages within our community. And someone challenged me. I said to him, just go and check the people around you. How many people have went through a divorce or marriage breakdown? And I said myself, let me check myself. And I checked. I took a random sample, not only the close people to me, but a random sample from the people I know, and I found the percentage is almost like that. And you check it yourself. It is a huge problem. And I think, let us admit that the imams, the leaders, the scholars, you name them, are not doing enough to solve this problem. Because this problem, I think, has to be addressed from various angles. And one of the main influentials of this increase in the percentage of divorce is the exposure to the non-Islamic way of life. Even unfortunately in Muslim world, the rates are becoming really crazy. Why? Again, because of the exposure of the non-Islamic way of life. We need to analyze those reasons behind this marriage breakdown problem or huge problem in order to find solutions. Allah Jalla wa Ala made talaq. If we follow the guidelines of Allah Jalla wa Ala, wallahi, those guidelines, whether in marriage or divorce, those guidelines will help us to minimize this rate or these rates. Okay? Some of those guidelines are mentioned here. Okay. Talaq, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمْ. At-talaq is translated as divorce. Now, in order to explain this, and as I told you, this verse alone has so many rulings. First of all, talaq is one of 4 different ways of ending marriage wedlock. Talaq is one of 4 different ways of ending marriage wedlock. Marriage wedlock can be ended according to Islamic Sharia through, first of all, talaq, which is what? The will of the husband that has been expressed clearly through certain words. Okay? This is talaq. So it is not the decision of the wife, it is the decision of the husband. And he has to express that in a certain way. Then after talaq we have something called khul'. Yes? Khul' is the request from the husband, the request or a request from the wife to end the marriage wedlock that has been addressed to the husband, and then the husband would agree to that request in exchange of money. So it can be defined ending the marriage or the wedlock by the husband in exchange of a certain amount of money paid by the wife. This is the definition of khul' according to the Jumhur. However, some scholars define it in a different way. They say it is a divorce by the husband as a request from the wife, and they don't make it conditional to an exchange of money. Yeah? So once the wife requests from her husband a divorce, and he doesn't want to divorce her except because she requested it, a minor number of scholars consider this as khul', but we go for the opinion of the Jumhur because this is a very vague definition, and moreover it does not differentiate between talaq and khul'. Otherwise, what is the difference between talaq and khul'? So this is the second way. Are you following me? Are you following? The third way is what? Is dissolution, fasakh. Many people are confused between what? Khul' and fasakh. They are 2 different things. Fasakh is the dissolution of the wedlock carried out by the Muslim court. So it is not carried out by the husband, let alone that it is carried out by the wife. No, it is carried out by what? By the Muslim court. The Muslim court will not act by itself, but it will act as a request from either parties, either from the husband or from the wife. Sometimes, in most cases, it is the husband who, in most cases it is the wife that requests the fasakh or dissolution. But in some cases, the husband might prefer that the court dissolves the marriage rather than him divorcing his wife. And the fourth thing is what? Can someone tell me? What is the fourth way of ending the wedlock? Death will end anything. Yeah? No. ظهار. No يا شيخ. لا. Apostasy. لا, this apostasy, because it is not ending the wedlock طيب from the marriage perspective. Yeah, it is of course ending the wedlock, but it is not ending it as a marriage. No.
I think if you married there are more than 4.
What's your name? He's afraid to mention his name.
Maybe the father.
Kafara? What kafara? What do you mean by kafara?
Maybe the father of one of the...
The father, you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by the father?
I'm not just trying to estimate what might be.
La. Okay. The fourth way is li'an. Yeah? Li'an. What is li'an? طيب. Li'an is what is mentioned in Surah An-Nur. Yeah? Okay. What is li'an? If a man accuses his wife, we have to be careful because person might be a man or a female or a male. And now marriage according to the law can happen between a man and a man, and a woman and a woman. Yeah? So once we say a person, we have to qualify it. And then later on maybe marriage can take place between a man and a donkey or an animal. We don't know. It might be. In some countries it is. You can marry an animal. Yeah, in some countries. Anyway, so if a man accuses his wife of zina, accuses his wife of zina, and she denied that, and he insisted, or she told him, fear Allah, otherwise I will take you to the court, and he said, I don't care. She has the right to take him to the court if he accuses her of zina. In front of the court, the judge will tell him, do you accuse your wife of zina? If he says yes, then the man has to swear 4 times that she committed zina, adultery. Yeah? Otherwise, if he does not swear by Allah, then the judge will smack him because of what? Slander, accusing her of zina. Okay? فشهادة أحدهم 4 شهادات بالله إنه لمن الصادقين والخامسة أن لعنة الله عليه إن كان من الكاذبين. So he will swear 4 times that his wife committed adultery, and the 5th one is to swear by Allah and to incur the la'na of Allah on him if he was telling a lie. The judge then will ask the wife to do the same thing, to respond to that by defending herself, by swearing 4 times that she did not commit zina. And the 5th is an oath by herself, and where she incurs the ghadab of Allah. وَالْخَامِسَةَ أَنَّ غَضَبَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهَا إِن كَانَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ, that the ghadab of Allah will be upon her if he was truthful in accusing her of zina. If the man insisted and he made this li'an and he swore 4 times, and the 5th, as we said, and in order for herself to defend herself from the punishment of zina, she swore 4 times, and the 5th time, as we explained, then she will not be punished the punishment of zina. But because he accused her of this and she defended her like that, which is something big, then the judge will dissolve their marriage, or the marriage is dissolved automatically forever. So they cannot go back to each other, they cannot remarry each other. Even if the wife married 100 man after that, she cannot go back to him. As in Hadith Uwaymir al-Ajlani, وَفَرَّقَ بَيْنَهُمَا. Okay, so this is the 4th way. Anyway, now we are the 4th way. Now it is not the time to explain what li'an is. But li'an, this li'an process, is one of the miracles of Sharia. No system in the world can bring something like li'an. No system in the world can bring something like li'an. And it is a rahmah from Allah Jalla wa Ala. It is a unique system. Anyway, we don't want to get into it, otherwise it will take us lessons to explain the miracles of li'an and the impact, the consequences of li'an. These are the 4 ways to end what? The wedlock. If you want to add apostasy, although it is not considered to be ending the marriage, this is 5th way. Some scholars might consider apostasy as one of the means for fasakh. Anyway, again, we don't want to get into this. Talaq is a system by itself. Khul' is another system, and fasakh is another system. All of them are the subsystems of ending the marriage wedlock. And talaq is a subsystem of nikah. Okay? And nikah is a subsystem of our social system, if you like to look at it like this. Now, talaq has a procedure. Talaq has a procedure. As we said, if you look at the procedure of talaq, you will admit and acknowledge that there is a miracle or miracles here. One of those one element of this procedure is what is mentioned here. إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ. If you divorce women, then divorce them in the beginning of their iddah. Now this means that there is something called iddah. What is iddah? What is iddah? If you divorce them in the beginning of their iddah. Iddah is a period. A woman waits after she's been divorced or after her husband dies. There are other types of iddad. Yes? And in the books of fiqh, you will see a chapter called Kitabul Iddad. And the scholar said, normally, scholar said, وَالْمُعْتَدَّاتُ سَبْعٌ. There are 7 types of women who go through iddah. Yeah, some others said 9. It depends on how they classify them. But mainly, the types of women who observe iddah are 2. Women who lose their, women who are divorced, yes, and women who became widows because their husbands died. So the divorcees and the widows, these are the main 2 types of women who observe iddah. Under each type there are subsections. Say that the divorcees can differ based on what kind of divorce they went through or they had. Let alone under the divorcees we have what? Women who have received khul' by their husbands. And the other type, women who received marriage dissolution by the Islamic court. Clear? So under this category we have 3 subcategories. And then we have what? The widows, 1 category. Now, under all these categories we have different women, different types of women. For example, we have young women who got married and who do not see their period. Yes? Similarly, we have women who are too old to have their menses or their periods. واللائي يئسن من المحيض من نسائكم إن ارتبتم فعدتهن 3 أشهر واللائي لم يحضن. So those who do not see their periods and those who are young or too young to see their periods. Okay, each one has its own iddah, period to wait after the divorce. What about women who are pregnant? They don't see periods. They have a different type of iddah. وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَجَلُهُنَّ أَنْ يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. The pregnant woman, their iddah is to deliver the baby. Yes? Okay. Similar discussion about the widows. Of course, we'll not get into all these types, but I'm just giving you the main classifications. Okay. Now, the iddah, as we said, it is a period of time a woman she should wait after being divorced or her husband died. Yes, it is a period of time. Now, this period of time, what is it? Wait, what does it mean? What are the rulings of this period of time? Okay, now in order to discuss this iddah, we need to discuss its length and what should be done during that. Its length, we will discuss it now. Okay, but before that, what does a woman do during her iddah? Iddah, and what is the wisdom behind it? So the length, the quality, and the wisdom behind it. Let us start with the wisdom behind it. The wisdom behind the iddah is for the man, for the husband and wife, to think about their life and to reconsider their decision about divorce. And Allah Jalla wa Ala made this period for them to reconcile, or to be more precise, brothers, for the husband to decide to reconcile. It is not for the wife to decide to reconcile. Yeah? For the husband to decide to reconcile with his wife. If he decided to do so, then he can resume he can resume the marriage or the wedlock without even her permission, provided that he did this ruju', so-called ruju', which is to resume the matrimonial life within the iddah period in a particular way. So the iddah period is a period that allows the husband to take his wife back or to resume the matrimonial life, in a particular way. Again, it is a period of time in which the husband has the right to resume the matrimonial life with his wife if he expressed this act of ruju' in a particular way. Clear? Yes, this what does iddah mean. Now, as you can see, that once a husband divorces his wife, it is not everything. It is not done. Khalas. He cannot go back to her. What about if he regrets? He divorced his wife, then he said, you know what? Really, I lost her. I lost my children. My family has been broken now. I cannot even go back to her. Just by divorce, like this. So definitely he will regret. And some people have different statistics in their countries about, I don't have any accurate statistics about the percentage of those people who regret the divorce after the divorce. But from my own experience, I have not seen a person, a man, who doesn't regret after divorcing his wife. Yeah? So that's why Allah Jalla wa Ala legislated this period of time. So the man can what? Can think again. In the beginning of Islam, there was no iddah. In the beginning of Islam, there was no iddah. Once the man divorces his wife, that's it. Then a woman, Asma bint Yazid ibn Sakan, was divorced, and her husband regretted. Then Allah Jalla wa Ala revealed this. إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة. Okay, then they started to observe the iddah. This is one reason for revealing this ayah. There are two other reasons, we will mention them. Just remind me if I forget. So, this is the iddah. إذا طلقتم النساء, if you divorce women, divorce them in the beginning of their iddah, and this is the iddah. As you can see, that the main one of the elements of the wisdom of this iddah is for the husband to think again. Yes? To think again. And Allah Jalla wa Ala also commanded the husband and the wife not to leave the matrimonial house so they can see each other. Yes, and they can reconsider and think more about what has happened. We will explain that inshallah once we come to لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن. Okay, now the iddah, as we said, it is the right of the husband, which means that, and sisters have to be clear about this, that if a husband took his wife back during the iddah period, she has no right to refuse. Yeah? This is a common mistake that many brothers and sisters fall in. We have so many cases where the husband says to his wife, no, I am regretting, really, let us resume the marriage. And sometimes he would say clearly that I am taking you back. Yes? And then she says, no, I'm not happy and I don't want to do this. Yeah? Okay. Then he leaves her. Then she gets married. After sometimes when she starts to practice the deen, she would read and she would say, oh, my first husband, did he take me back or he didn't? Then she comes and she says, my husband, he was negotiating with me. I don't know whether that was a ruju' or not. Do you remember what he said to you? Sometimes they would say clearly that he wanted me back and he said, I'm taking you back, but I refused. This is a big problem. Because if he took her back and she admitted that he took her back, it is a valid ruju'. She doesn't need, her consent is not a condition for the validity of the ruju'. I hope the sisters to understand this and the brothers to understand this, because many brothers, when they do the ruju', they think that if the wife does not consent for the ruju', then there was no valid ruju' and he leaves them. He leaves her. He leaves her, now she is in his wedlock, in his dhimma. He leaves her and he knows that she is getting married to another person. How come you allow her to get married to another person and she is your wife? You have to go and tell her father that you have what? Done ruju'. I hope that this point is clear. This is one of the common problems, very common. Another common problem related to this, the iddah and the ruju', is the husband, he calls his what? He calls his father-in-law. You know, I'm really regretting and I want my wife back and etc. The father-in-law, because his wife, his daughter was divorced, yeah, he is now, and he had his izzat, as they say, and he's angry. And he said, no, I will not send her back to you. Yes. And then what happens? She gets married unlawfully. If the husband took her back, she is his wife. In fact, my dear respected brothers and sisters, the wife during the iddah period is a wife, is not a divorcee. Is it clear? What does that mean? It means that during the iddah period, even if the husband did not take her back, if he dies, she will inherit him. If she dies, he will inherit her. Is it clear? Because she is his wife. Okay? But among the common mistakes that people don't know how to do ruju'. He will call her father and he will say, I want my wife back. The father would say no. Then the husband thinks that is done. Khalas. Yeah? And the husband will think that it is done. No, it is ruju'. It's valid. Khalas. She cannot get married to another person. And by the way, just a disclaimer, once we use the word marriage and divorce in this context, we are talking about Islamic marriage and Islamic divorce. Yeah, otherwise it will create some confusion. Is it clear, brothers and sisters? Now we have so many cases, and among the cases where the husband cohabits with his wife, and then the father-in-law, or then the husband, we had a case, the husband approached the father-in-law after he cohabited with his wife, and he told the father-in-law that, oh, I'm regretting and I'm happy and your daughter is happy to reconcile. The father is saying, no. We had a case like this, and then the wife and coercion from her father, got married to another man. I said to her in that particular case, sister, how did you sleep with your, you called ex-husband? She said, I didn't know. I said, you slept with him as a wife or as a zaniya. You slept with him as a wife. So if you slept with him as a wife, how did you accept to marry another man? Is it a joke? Or do you admit that you committed adultery? Is it clear? Khalas, you slept with him. You cannot just assume that, oh, he cannot have me back, and you can't just marry another man. Ask, at least ask, otherwise you will put yourself into troubles. And in one case, a sister she slept with her husband, and then her father, of course that was in the behind the back of her father, and then when her iddah ended, her father said, now your iddah is ended, and there is another man who wanted to marry you, and he forced her, or he persuaded her to what? To get married to another man. I told her, now how did you know that when you slept with your ex-husband, you became pregnant, and now you allowed another man to what? As the Prophet ﷺ said, to water the plants of the previous man. Did you? Yeah? So how come maybe you became pregnant from your husband? Your father assumed that your iddah is over, and mistakenly, this is another mistake which shows the miracles of Sharia, because one of the common mistakes, they think that the iddah is what? 3 months, not 3 periods or 3 purity periods. Otherwise, if it is a 3 periods, if she was pregnant from her husband, they will know. Yes? They will know. But because they did not put any attention to the period or the cycle, once she finished 3 months, another man applied or proposed, and her father persuaded her, and she accepted that, and she got married. So I said to her, now, your son, this son, okay, whose father? Who is his father? She said, what do you mean? I said, maybe the ex-husband. That you call him the ex-husband. Otherwise, he is the legitimate husband. She said, what? What are you talking about? I said, what are you talking about? Don't put yourself into troubles, and then you ask the imam to solve the problem. Did you get the example? Did you understand the example, brothers? Yeah? Okay. It is, don't expect that it is a rare case. Occasionally we receive cases like this. It is a big problem. Yes, who is the legal husband, or the who is the shar'i father for the child? Okay, so this is again one of the main elements of the wisdom of the iddah. Okay, now there is a question here, which is, do we really need to have iddah? In the beginning of Islam, there was no iddah. In Christianity, Catholicism, they don't divorce. Yeah? Khalas, you had your wife, you stuck forever. You had a sister or a woman had her husband, he's ugly, he's so whatever you call him, stuck with him, no divorce. Same thing in Judaism. Yeah? No divorce. I said once in a conference, a rabbi came and presented marriage and divorce in how they do it in Bet Din. So, and he said, we don't have divorce. He said, if the husband does not want to divorce his wife, the wife cannot be divorced. There is no fasakh, dissolution. Yeah? No one can give the get, it's called get, the divorce, to the wife except her husband. And see how Islam is far advanced than Judaism in this. Far advanced than any other system. So I said, how come if she doesn't really want? And I said, had this been in Islam, you will see thousands of people, including Muslims, attacking Islam because of this. That Islam suppresses women, Islam does not give them their rights, Islam, etc. And there is no justice if a woman wants to be away from her husband or to get divorced and he refuses, no one in the world can give her any way out. Yeah? And he said, well, that's the Orthodox Judaism. I said, no problem, send them to the Islamic Sharia Council, we can give them marriage dissolution. Yeah? We have no problem with that if she proves her point. My point is, yeah, that we need to understand how it works carefully. If you doubt anything, ask. If you doubt anything, ask. And don't ask anyone, ask someone who knows what he is talking about. Otherwise, he will put you in a problem and then there is no solution. Okay, the other point is, some people say, why Allah Jalla wa Ala gave the right of ruju', of reconciliation to the husband, and He did not give the wife any right to refuse. Yeah? Is the question clear? Why did Allah Jalla wa Ala give the right of ruju', of taking the wife back to the wedlock, to the husband? And the consent of the wife is not a condition for a valid ruju'. Whether she consent or she doesn't consent, he will take her back. Yes? Allahu Alam, the wisdom behind this is as follows. Yeah? Brothers and sisters, listen to this. Imagine you had an argument with your wife. It happens. Yeah? Imam Ahmad said, I had Salih with me for, I think he said 40 years, and she said, she never told me no. طيب, this is Imam Ahmad and his wife. Yeah? Someone, I mentioned this in one of the, he said, my wife never said yes. Anyway. I remember I saw an old person in Hajj. Yeah? And he told me, Sheikh, made dua for my wife. I said, what happened? He's maybe in his 70s. He said, she passed away just before Hajj. I wanted to take her with me to Hajj, but she passed away, and I missed her and so on. He said, she was a very righteous woman. He said, I lived with her more than around 50 years, and she never told me no. I don't think that it is that, but when you miss someone, yeah, whom you used to love, you will remember all the good things, which is good. At least he will make dua for her. Anyway, imagine that you have the wisdom behind this. This is how I see it. Imagine you have an argument with your wife, and she became angry, and she thinks that you did something wrong or bad to her, etc. And you left the house. And then you said, okay, really, you regretted, and really I need to maybe rectify the matter and reconcile. So you texted her, and you said to her, oh, darling, let us go for a dinner, yeah, together. What will be her answer? Anyone? Anyone? You are not married. How do you know? No, but he gave the correct answer, maybe because his father and mother are always. So what is the answer? No, she will never say yes. She will say what? No. Yeah? Suhail knows the answer. He said, he knew the answer because he said she will tell him, get lost. So he must have received this text message. So she will say no. No, please listen to this, especially brothers. Yeah? She will say no. What is the common mistake many brothers do? And this small mistake leads to big mistakes. And that's why we need to know the psychology of each other. Yeah? Many brothers will say, she said no, or get lost. He will reply by saying, Wallah, you don't deserve it. It's my fault. Yeah? Or if he's not practicing, he will say, I go for another woman. What will this lead to? To bigger problem or bigger problems. And sometimes it will be the start of the end of the marriage. Yeah? طيب. If this scenario happens, yeah, we as men need to understand that women like to be chased. Yeah? Don't expect when she thinks that you have dealt with her badly or something like this, or you made a mistake, and then you regret it and you said to her, darling, let us go for dinner. When she says no, it means what? Yes, but please beg me again to come with you. No, seriously, this is what it means. Yes? We have this common problem in the Islamic Sharia Council, and when I ask brothers, yeah, and sometimes, this is very common. The brother is sitting next to his wife, and I say, so your wife told you no. Yeah, what we will do? He said, yeah, either I will say no, or I will just say, okay, forget it, or I'll not come back home, or okay, today I'm not going home and spend my night with my family, with my parents, or I'm going with my friends, and this will increase the problem. I say no here. No. What does it mean? I think all the husbands that I met, they did not understand the meaning of no. Seriously, it is a serious issue. And when I say no, it means yes, but send another text for me. Please, beg me. I want to see that you are really chasing me. When I say this, all women start laughing. All of them start to laugh. And I ask them, is this true or not? And they say, yes, this is true. It doesn't mean really no, I don't want to do it. It means what? Send me another text. I'm enjoying this request. I'm chasing me. Yes? So, we have to understand this mentality. This, I understood it from the legislation of what? Of ruju'. Yeah? Allahu A'lam, as I told you, maybe this is the hikmah. Because if you go to your wife and listen, I'm regretting, let us reconcile, she will say no. Most men will feel offended. She said no. And that's why it is a common question that we receive, that the man said to his wife, I want her to have ruju'. Yes? And she said no. So I said she doesn't want, I left her. No, it was a mistake from you just to leave her like this. You should have persuaded her more. So Sharia closed the door and said, take her back. She has no consent to refuse. Or her consent to refuse is not a condition for it to be valid. Is it clear? Yeah? Moreover, part of the wisdom of this iddah, normally, as it happened with Qais and his wife Fatima, one of the companions and his wife Fatima, he in the ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, فلا جناح عليهن آية العضل فلا جناح عليهن أن ينكحن أزواجهن إذا تراضوا بينهم بالمعروف. What is the reason for the revelation of this ayah? A man had his sister married to one of the companions, and then he divorced her. Then he regretted, and he told her that let us reconcile. Her brother said, no, wallahi, I will not allow you to go back to him. And he said, she's my wife, I want her back. He said, you did not respect me in the first place. I allowed you to marry her, she became your firash, and you were doing this and that with her. And then you did not give me any respect, and you just divorced her like this. I will never allow her to go back to you. So Allah revealed this ayah, فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ أَن يَنكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ إِذَا تَرَاضَوْا بَيْنَهُم بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So if they agreed, خلاص, leave them to get married to each other. This is after if the iddah has ended. What does that mean? It means that during the iddah period, the husband can take his wife back without her consent and without the consent of her wali, because most likely her father, her brother, or even her son, her wali, will feel angry that his daughter or his sister was divorced by this man whom you have respected him. So in order for Allah to help both of them to reconcile and to maintain the matrimonial life and marriage between husband and wife, Allah Jalla wa Ala said, the meaning of what He said, you can take her back without her consent, without the consent of her family as well. Is it clear? This is part of the wisdom why the consent is not conditional for a valid ruju'. Okay, so this is the iddah. طيب. Allah Jalla wa Ala says, يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن, means if you want to divorce women, then divorce them in the beginning of their iddah. Okay? If I want to divorce my wife, I will not think, I'll just bang, divorced. Yes? This is what happens. No, Allah wants you to think about divorce and to time it in the correct time. Are you following? When you think about divorce and put it in the right time, normally this helps you to maybe avoid it. And you will not divorce unless you really took a decision after thinking to end the marriage wedlock. So it will not be a reaction out of anger or out of frustration. Are you following? This is another part of the hikmah of how the divorce was legislated. So a person had an argument with his wife, and instead of just bang divorce, he will say, I want to follow what Allah says. So when is your iddah start? It starts after 2 days, 3 days. Or so, or maybe after a week or a few weeks. Okay, I will divorce you then. From now until tomorrow, or maybe after an hour, or a friend will come to you, or you will receive a good news. Or you might hear that the coup in Egypt has ended and they put a Sisi in the prison instead of Ahmed Mursi, you will say, oh my wife, come on, let me have you. Wallah, this good news, I have not received this news for a while. And you will forget about everything. Sah?
Yeah.
So the divorce should be what? A decision rather than a punishment. Yeah? You are as if you are fighting with your wife, bang. No. Think about it. It is a decision. This is also another element. Had we, or if we follow it, we will reduce what? The possibility or the divorce rate. إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمْ. And look at it as if it is, if you want to do it, then divorce them in this process. So إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, just hold on. Okay, and if you were to do it, okay, and most of the divorces that we have seen, people unfortunately don't follow the sunnah. When they become angry, they just divorce. Yeah. Okay. إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة. Okay, there are some other points that can be mentioned, but let us stop here. We already took 1 hour almost. Inshallah, we'll stop here, inshallah, and we will continue explaining those rulings, inshallah, in the next dars. Inshallah, jazakumullahu khaira. Barakallahu fikum. Do you have questions or any question? Yeah, normally, if you want to encourage people to ask questions, normally if I go for any lecture and then I feel that the people are tired or bored for whatever reason, I will say no lecture, ask me questions. Then they don't know what to ask. Then I say to them, I always discuss two things: divorce and marriage. Yeah, then you will see thousands of questions coming. Or financial transactions. Then again thousands or hundreds of questions will come. By the way, this idea is a copyright, so when you use it, if you have a lecture and people are bored, before you use this trick, just make dua for me. Yeah. Right. Yes.
What happens in a situation where the parents put pressure on the husband to divorce the wife, or if they put pressure on the wife to divorce the husband?
Let us take the relevant questions, otherwise, because of time. Okay, we'll see the other questions. Yes.
In terms of the dissolution, once it's been by the judge has said that the wedlock's over, is there any iddah after that, or is it finished?
Okay. The question is, if the judge pronounced dissolution between husband and wife, is there any iddah or not? Yeah. As we said that there are different types of iddah. Now we said that there is a iddah after divorce, or there is a iddah after death. Within divorce, or so-called divorce, there is a iddah after divorce. There is another type of iddah after khul'. There is a third type of iddah after dissolution. The iddah after dissolution is different from the iddah after divorce. Okay, in a few things. Mainly, the husband has no right to take his wife back after dissolution. Yeah, this is the key difference. And this is the key difference between dissolution and divorce. Yeah.
Sorry, this is slightly the topics are very important. One of the local brothers, I'm not sure if you're aware, he attended your dars a few times. He passed away 2 days ago. I don't know if you know him, Shuaib Khan. He lives in East Ham.
He passed away where? Here or in Syria?
No, he passed away here.
Who?
Shuaib Khan. You might know his face, but he did attend dars just 2 days ago.
Young brother?
Young brother.
Rahimahullah.
He's about early 30s or late 20s. He's got 3 children, one of them 4 months old.
Subhanallah. What, he passed away accident or just?
What happened is they say that he had some breathing problem. He was eating and I think something was choked.
رحمه الله نسأل الله جل وعلا أن يرحمه رحمة واسعة نسأل الله جل وعلا أن يرحمه رحمة واسعة وأن يعظم له الأجر وأن يعظم لعائلته الأجر. Please, can you pass my condolences and the condolences of the brothers here to his family, please? Yeah. Where is his family and his wife?
They live in East Town.
You know where their address, so we can go and give them condolences?
Exactly, but I can get it.
Yeah, please. Yeah, give it and call me, please. Yes, the brother there. Yeah.
Sheikh, what's the hikmah behind the woman not being allowed to make talaq?
To make talaq.
Yeah.
We will have no marriage. The brother is saying what is the hikmah of women not to have talaq. Yeah? We said that we will have no marriage at all. Okay, listen. Once I had a discussion with a non-Muslim about this. And I said to him, okay, let us just think about it. Either we give the right to divorce to one, or to give it to both. Yeah? These are the 2 choices. If we give it to one, then it has to be either the man or the wife. So if we give it to the wife, men will say, why not us? So, and people will say, what is the wisdom behind not giving the right to divorce to men? Agree? If we give it to women, then obviously we receive the same question. Then the third possibility is to give it to both. Now, if the percentage of the possible percentage of divorce by men is 30%, definitely the percentage of divorce by women will be more than that, 50-60. If we give both of them the right to divorce, then add 30 plus 60, well, there will be what? 90% of divorce rate. Agree? Because if both has the right to divorce, then the possibility of marriage breakdown will be what? Much higher. Agree? So we have to give it to one. Either a man or the wife. So if we give it to the wife, men will complain. So we have to give it to one of them. Yeah? Let alone to say that Allah is the best legislator. This is the known answer. But I mean, just before that, the rational argument. Yeah? Because some people just argue sometimes and they say, oh, well, Islam is this and that. I say, just think about it sometimes without mentioning the word Allah says or Muhammad says. Just if you think rationally about your question, you will find that there is no question in the first place. Your question doesn't make sense. Are you following? Yeah? طيب. Yes, brother.
You said, brother, that to remind you about the sabab al-nuzul, ya ayyuhan nabi.
Yeah, there are 2 reasons for revelation. We'll mention them inshallah next. Yeah, if I forget, please remind me. Jazakallah khair. Yes, Sheikh.
The question here about men and women who were given the right.
Yeah.
If you're saying there's nearly 40% of divorces, does that mean that there's more men behaving like women by just issuing talaqs emotionally?
No, because we don't know how women will behave. Yani if this is 40% and this is the percentage of the divorce by men, imagine if we have given this right to women, then what would be the percentage? maybe under the influence of the non-Islamic way of life, men are divorcing by this percentage. Maybe under the same influence, if the right to divorce was given to women, then the divorce rate would be 80%. Maybe. Did you get the logic of the answer? Yeah. But anyway, to be honest with you, I think most men, I don't want to say that they are behaving like women, in this particular issue, but most men, unfortunately, they are unaware of the rulings of divorce, and they don't have enough wisdom and the skills to maintain their families. As I told you, a simple request or a simple question I ask men. If you had this argument with your wife, and then you told her, let us go for a dinner, or she will say no. What will be your reaction? I don't remember that a man gave me the right reaction. All of them say no. Which is a big problem, which means that men don't know how women brain, psychology, emotions work. Which is a big problem. Same thing, women don't know, but because we put more blame on men in divorce, because divorce at the end of the day is in their hands. Okay. Yes, sir.
If a disbelieving couple got married, but then the woman became Muslim, what's the ruling on their marriage?
Now we need to answer the question of the brother, because your question is not related to this. Yes, your question, please.
If we define talaq as irada to zawj, the intention of the man,
that has to be expressed in a particular way.
So if he expresses it but without the
irada,
so for example he's mocking her, and he says you're divorced, or he says if you do this, so if you leave my house, you're divorced. So he hasn't sort of made the irada, she made the irada to leave. Are those both valid divorces?
The question is, if we say that the الطلاق إرادة الزوج إنهاء عقد الزوجية, the will of the husband to end the marriage wedlock. So let us imagine that the husband, he pronounced or he expressed talaq, or he pronounced, not expressed, he pronounced the word talaq without a will to divorce. Will that be considered as a valid divorce or not? This is a mas'ala طويلة الذيل, a long mas'ala with so many differences between scholars and so many details. We cannot conclude it now. It's a big mas'ala.
And the other mas'ala, if he puts condition and then she does it.
This is another long mas'ala as well. Don't do it. It's the best thing. Yes, Sheikh.
I asked you this before some time ago, but I'm just wondering whether you developed a different answer. How do we understand the fact that the Sahaba were the greatest generation, and they were those who would not want to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so how do we understand that with the number of high rate divorces that were during their generation? The number of divorces that used to take place at the time of the Sahaba. How do we reconcile this with the fact that this is not something which is good for society, knowing that they are the best generation, as well as...
And they had high divorce rate? Who told you that they had high divorce rate?
So example, we have a number of the companions, like Ali radiallahu anhu, who divorced many times. And not just Ali radiallahu anhu, but...
How? When do you know that he divorced many times?
In his biography.
Which biography? Written by who?
Salabi.
He divorced many times?
Yeah, he had many wives.
He had many wives, not divorced many.
So example, Abu Bakr, no, not Abu Bakr. But yes, many of the companions, it was known that they divorced a lot.
I don't know. They know. So you need to qualify this. Okay, I don't know. But the fact that it happened because of legislation. Yani as now some secular people say that, look, during the best time, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, 2 incidents of zina. And in a small community, 2 or 3. Yeah, in a small community, Medina. So that is the time of the Prophet and in the presence of the Prophet and so on. Yeah? So obviously we will have cases, many cases of zina. Why are you so much worried? Yeah? We say, of course, there is a response to this. But the first thing, Allah wanted these cases to happen to show us what? The legislation. Yeah? So Allah Jalla wa Ala created the incidents during the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam for a reason. Yeah? For reasons. And those reasons, vary. But one of them is what? For legislation. Otherwise we wouldn't know about the hadd of as-sariqa. Yeah? We wouldn't know about the hadd of the zina, either fornication or adultery. طيب? And so on. Yes. Sheikh Asim, yeah.
You've been alluding to the fact that divorce has become, a phenomenon more so in our times than the previous generation. It's become a bigger problem now than ever before. You mentioned that one of the reasons is because many of us don't know about the rulings of divorce.
Yeah.
But if you had to say, pinpoint one reason from your experience why it's become more of a problem now than in the previous generations.
Yeah, I said, the brother is asking about the reasons for divorce, or for the divorces that we see. What is one of those main reasons? As I said, unfortunately, is because either of the parties or both parties are not following the Islamic guidelines, or in general they are following the non-Islamic lifestyle. Okay? And one of the main reasons is this notion of equality between men and women. This is a big problem. How? I don't know whether we have time to. Okay? The notion of equality. How? If the man perceives his wife as equal to him, he will raise the expectations. Yeah? So, he will not look at her as a female with her nature different from his nature. She is not physically fit as he is. She is emotionally different from him. Yeah? She is even psychologically different from him. And he needs to forgive her for her weakness, and he should appreciate her weaknesses or shortcomings. So if the man does not appreciate these differences between him and his wife, he will not appreciate that she is physically, for example, weaker than him. And we have so many cases where the brother and his wife, they fight. Yeah, they fight physically. And he says, many cases, the brother is saying, she became physical and she was hitting me. Now when the man sees his wife doing this, he feels that she is what? A competitor to him. Once the man feels that she is a competitor to him, he becomes what? More aggressive. Yeah? So it is a big problem. So when the man feels that his wife is a competitor, head to head, he wanted to prove his muscular or nature or his manhood, and he becomes what? More aggressive. Yeah? Or from the sister's side or from the wife's side, I always say to them, wallahi, I had a discussion just 2 weeks ago with a sister. She's a professional, works in a big firm, and to be honest with you, she might be with us here because she used to live around. Okay, and she asked me about circles, and I told her, and she can send a message that if I tell any lie, she can say no, that is not the case. She said to me that she had some problems with her husband. Then her husband went to Hajj, and then after Hajj he changed completely. So she said it must be Hajj. I said, yeah, maybe. But seriously, what did you change in your lifestyle? She said, to be honest with you, I started to keep quiet and I started to praise him. Yeah? And I started to try to get closer to him. I said, this is the secret. This is the secret. And when I explained to her, she told me, to be honest, it's true. This is the secret. What is the secret? Yeah? If a man acts as a man and a woman acts as a woman, means she uses her feminine qualities. Yeah? Then the life will continue, okay, perfectly. Okay, now we'll talk about man. I spoke about men, but one point, as I'm talking about sisters, if they use their feminine qualities, and I hope sisters understand this, wallahi, they will be able to control their husbands. Yeah? And most women, they would like when you tell them, do you like to control your husband? Yeah, how? Yeah? Okay, and the answer is very easy. The answer is very easy. Which is what? Yeah? The advice for sisters, use your feminine qualities. Act as a female. And I said to her, and I always say to sisters, we men, we are muscular, strong, bodies. You will find big brothers, and they can beat 10 men. Yeah? They can beat up 10 men. But they cannot beat a single woman. Seriously. No, it is true. It's not for you just to laugh. A man cannot stand any woman. This is our weakness. Agree or not? They say the elephant, fears a mice, or fears a mouse. You know this? No. A mouse. The elephant, run away from a mouse. This is a reality. Okay? So, an elephant, a man, he cannot stand what? A woman. I say he cannot stand what? A woman, not a man. So, be a woman, your husband cannot stand you. This is the secret. So, use your feminine qualities. Khalas, you will just control your husband. He shouted, say sorry. Just keep quiet. If he shouted again, he just want to ascertain that you are saying sorry. No, seriously. طيب. Some women, because of the influence of the non-Islamic Western lifestyle, they say, why if he shouted, why do I keep quiet? Okay, no problem, shout again. He shouted, you shout. What will happen? He wants to ascertain his manhood now. He will what? He will shout louder. And then he becomes what? Physical. And it becomes a big problem. Are we looking for solving the problems, or are we looking for selfish attitude? We are looking for solving the problem in order to what? To maintain our marriages. So, if the man shouted and the woman said, I'm really sorry, he will shout again, oh, I'm really sorry, darling. He will not shout for the third time. If there is a violent man, as they say, yeah, this man will leave the property, will leave, because he cannot. Normally, we are talking about average. We are not talking about exceptions. Exceptions always different. We are talking about in general. Yeah, generally speaking. So the norm. So a man, when he sees that his wife is saying, or a woman, especially his wife, said sorry, and she's just looking at him, he will shout again, and she said, I said sorry, really, I'm sorry. Then he will become powerless. And if he really wants to become physical, he will leave. He will leave. And that's it. He will come again and he apologize. He will apologize. Yeah? Or he will become again. He will come again and he will pretend that there was no problem. Yeah? Because he doesn't want to apologize. This is the secret. This is the secret. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, yeah, إِذَا نَظَرَ إِلَيْهَا سَرَّتْهُ. When he looks at her, he will feel what? Relaxed and happy. Why? Because he feels that this wife, نَظَرَ إِلَيْهَا, is not just because of her beauty or attraction or, yeah? No, because of her attitude. And that's why in Sharia, we can't talk about this. Allah Jalla wa Ala praised those women who, they come closer and make tawaddud. Yeah, they want their husbands to love them. طيب. Yeah, حسن تبعل إحداكن لزوجها تزوج الودود. Al-wadud means the one that shows what? Love. Yeah. This is one of the main reasons. If sisters don't do this, then marriage breakdown will really become big. And again, as we said, if husbands over or raise their expectations from their wives, then it becomes really a big problem. I wanted to carry out a study regarding divorce in the Muslim community, to see from an academic perspective what is the main reason. Does it lie with the husband or with the wife? Does it lie with husbands in general or with wives? Because I have an assumption, but I need to qualify this, because I'm sure that if I express it, many people will disagree with me. But we need to carry out a proper survey in order just to prove that the most of the reasons lie with either the husbands or with wives. Okay, طيب, last question. Yeah.
What is starting of Iddah? What time is that?
We will inshallah explain it inshallah in the next dars inshallah. طيب, any other dars? خلاص. Any other question?
Quick one. In the last lesson you said that the reason why Allah says Ya ayyuhan nabi, is there a reason why Allah didn't just say Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu idha talaqtum an-nisa?
Yeah, Allahu a'lam, there is a wisdom, because in ayat Talaq for for women who have the marriage has not been consummated, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu idha talaqtum an-nisaa يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا طلقتم النساء من قبل أن تمسوهن فما لكم عليهن من عدة تعتدونها ومتعوهن. So if you believe, if you divorce women before you consummate the marriage, then there is no iddah. So in that ayah, Allah Jalla wa Ala addressed Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. Here in this ayah, Allah Jalla wa Ala says Ya ayyuhal ladhina, Ya ayyuhan nabi. Why? It is not clear for me. I thought of one reason, that because that is not the norm. But here is the norm, which not the norm. Here is the main case of talaq. So Allah Jalla wa Ala wanted to address the Prophet, who is the representative of the ummah. Yeah, because this is the main case of talaq. Allahu A'lam. It might be the reason. Yes. You wanted to say something? Shaykh Hasan. Yes, type.
Can you just clarify, the time period of iddah, is it 3 months?
We will talk about this inshallah next dars, inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا بارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.